We've all heard of the Loch Ness Monster, but do you know how this legend originated? Today we take you through the timeline of some of the monster's most infamous sightings, some dating back as far as the 6th century. We'll get you all up to speed, discuss what kind of research is going on today, and give our takes on this elusive creature. I'm Mike.
I'm Ian.
And I'm Dave. If you thought that iconic photo was proof positive of Nessie's existence, stick around. We're probably going to burst your bubble more than Mike seeing a gynecological anatomy diagram for the first time. This is Necronomipod.
Nick Longrich is a paleontologist at England's Bath University and the lead author of a report on the fossil find.
We found a lot of different plesiosaur fossils in this freshwater deposit. We found juveniles, we found adults, we found bones, we found teeth that they lost. They shed their teeth, kind of like sharks. So we found a lot of fossils suggesting these things were up there routinely and probably spent much, if not all of their lives in freshwater. 66 million years ago, the asteroid hits, all these things go extinct, including the plesiosaurs. As a scientist, I can never say anything is impossible. All hypotheses are on the table at some level until they're proven false. We could find a Loch Ness Monster tomorrow. It could be a plesiosaur. I think that is, however, extremely unlikely, given the evidence we have at this point.
So let's start out this episode by assuring everyone that yes, we live in Ohio. We are not really anywhere near East Palestine, Ohio, where that train derailed, and we are all good to go here. Appreciate everyone reaching out. Where I think we're about 75 miles away from where that disaster happened down there in, was that southeast Ohio?
Yeah, that's like
north of Steubenville.
Yeah, it's like a halfway point between here and Pittsburgh on the Ohio side still.
Yeah. Thank you for your concern, though. But no, we're up in northern Ohio. It's nowhere near us. But awful for those people down there. It's not great.
It's spread, nothing up this way.
Not yet. If you look at the map, though, like that smoke plume was, the one. Depends on how the wind's drifting, but it was going right over our houses. The one day. I think the wind shifted and it's heading towards West Virginia currently. But
that's what I was going to say. I know, like down there in that whole Ohio Valley region where Weirton, West Virginia is. I know Weirton doesn't control a lot of the water, so I do know that there were some water issues down there in Weirton, West Virginia. So
a lot of dead fish, a lot of people with rashes, a lot of.
Maybe if it hits them all, it'll change their taste buds and they'll want cooked pizza. I'm trying to look half glass full here.
Is that what you're doing?
I'm trying.
It sounds terrible, though.
Well, yeah, it's not good.
Vinyl chloride, isn't that what it's?
Vinyl? Is that?
Yeah, it was
some kind of chloride.
Yeah, like vinyl chloride. What does that mean?
I'm not sure. We're going to light this on fire instead of... Those are some smoke plumes. I don't know. I'll be honest. I haven't really looked into it that much, but
I haven't either. I saw it, but I haven't kept up with it.
Yeah.
They're like, let's just burn it all. It'll be fine. Then after they're like, oh fuck me.
Look, when 3 Mile Island happened, the company said, nothing going on up here either. So who knows? We're gonna find out some stuff in the next couple of months, though. So hopefully everyone down there is okay. I don't think they are. I think it's I think it's not good at all.
Yeah, from my understanding of just some like word of mouth from people that I know, kind of close to that area. That with the Weirton, West Virginia, the water stuff was all fucked up because of this. And
I've seen some not great pictures of water resources.
Yeah, it is not good. But thankfully, none of our water is connected to any of that. At least that we know of so far, nothing.
But the Ohio River feeds a lot of.
It's a big region.
It's a big thing down there, and contaminate that, you have big problems.
I mean, the Ohio River wasn't great to begin with.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like nobody's going swimming in the Ohio River, or at least you shouldn't.
No. One question I have though is, how come there was no Mothman sightings flying around trying to warn about the upcoming disaster, like he warned about the Silver Bridge in the 60s?
He dropped the ball on this.
Come on, Mothman.
Maybe because
where you at, homie?
No one fucking listened to him back then. He's like, well, fuck you guys then.
It's like, I was flying around trying to tell you the bridge collapsed. You did nothing, so I know about this train shit. I'm not coming back. I'm stay in my cave. I'm not going to say a fucking word.
Yeah, I don't blame him. Gets no respect. Maybe he was busy taking somebody on a magic carpet ride.
It's true.
Patreon.com/Necronomipod, our recent paranormal erotica episode. Well worth $5 just to check out that one story.
Mothman likes to fuck. That's for sure.
What do we say? It was like a trashy Aladdin.
Because like he was like holding her right while flying, and we compared it to like Aladdin and Jasmine on the magic carpet, but he was inside of that woman the entire time, while a whole new world played in the background.
A whole new world.
I think we were gonna get the screenplay for that.
Oh yeah.
And we decided that Florence Pugh was gonna play the.
Of course we did.
The damsel.
Who else would
did
play?
we say we were going to buy the screenplay for Aladdin?
Yeah, we were gonna make that movie. Cool Down Media Productions.
Yeah, we say a lot of things.
No, not for Aladdin. For the Mothman story.
Oh.
We're gonna do the Mothman one. No,
I thought we were buying
I don't think
the rights
Disney's
to
gonna
Aladdin.
sell us Aladdin. Look, Walt, hear us out.
Walt.
They unfroze for the meeting. They decided that would be the perfect time to unfreeze him.
Anyway, but to our friends down there, stay safe. It's not great.
Yeah, that seems like just a big region down there. It's just not East Palestine.
And it's a poor, downtrodden region to begin with. So
Southern Ohio is filled with
Look, if
very
you ask
impoverished areas.
People listening to this show, Ohio is a poor, downtrodden area.
it is.
That's what they just assume.
Not where we're from, though. But yeah,
Yeah, Southern Ohio, it's a lot of impoverished areas down
it's
there.
like a Mason-Dixon line south of south of our county, I think, right? Until you get to Columbus. Like there's whole swaths of the state.
I mean, most of Ohio, outside of like the Cleveland metropolitan area, the Columbus, and then Cincinnati.
Not that Cleveland's that great these days either, though.
But the metropolitan area,
Yeah. No fucking crime wave in Cleveland.
Well, fucking Bibb would get on it and fix all these problems.
Oh, yeah. Simple problems. Fix them tomorrow.
The hell's he
What are
doing?
you waiting for? Call the Mothman in.
Get Carl Monday on it.
Carl Monday's retired, man.
I think there is a link from when he retired to crime rates going up. Yeah, nobody wants to fuck around if you know he's coming after you. What, they got fucking Ed Galick now? Come on. What's that guy gonna do?
You got to put like a bat signal up with Carl Monday's.
Just a big M.
We need you. The city needs you. He comes out of retirement to save the city.
Place would pop.
Thank you, Carl.
City would go
You're
nuts.
the best.
The local Fox station affiliate would get its biggest ratings ever.
He turns it around, becomes mayor because of it.
Mayor Monday.
95 years old, Mayor Monday. It's time for Mayor Tuesday. You're a little old.
It's like a Royal Rumble pop when Carl Monday
Oh,
comes
yeah.
back.
I'd tune in for that.
His first show back.
Oh, yeah.
There's like a whole slow-mo with him taking his tan trench coat out of the closet, dusting it off, pulling the mothballs out of the pockets.
Playing like Chariots of Fire. Do, 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 do.
We should interview him. We could get him. That'd be a lot of fun.
Probably.
We should do it.
All right. You send him an email, Dave.
I wonder if his full name's Carlton. We'll find that out when we interview him.
The hard-hitting questions.
What else would Carl be?
Maybe it's just Carl.
It might just be Carl.
Maybe his parents had a sense of humor.
He'd be like, at least it wasn't Keith, fellas.
That's right. He knows. He fucking knows. Carl Monday fucks.
Goddamn right he does.
I almost spit my beer all over my...
It's going to be one of those shows, I think. That's going on the soundboard.
I haven't even started to come out. I'm crying over here. All right.
Anyway, to recap, we're safe up here in our town of Medina. Long ways away.
Yeah, we're good. Oh, man. 4 years into the don't get me started again. 4 years into this show, did you ever think that we would just now be covering the Loch Ness Monster?
Loch Ness Monster is one of the heavy hitters.
Classic.
This is like the V cryptid, right? So legend story.
Yeah. Loch Ness and Bigfoot, right? Those are the two big.
I think that's right.
And Mothman comes in after.
It's like the big three. It's the Mount Rushmore, right?
Like if a cryptozoologist was to find the Loch Ness Monster, they'd be superstars.
That makes their career.
Makes their existence.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm not sure that's going to happen, though.
Well, we'll get to it at the end, too. I thought there were a lot more coming into this. I thought there were a lot more credible sightings.
I honestly did, too.
And we're going to discuss here tonight. Maybe I'm getting too far ahead of ourselves or us, but
Yeah, it seems like the public consciousness, it was a bigger thing.
Coming into this, I would have probably guessed that maybe this one is kind of real to some extent. Like people did see something, but then reading the notes, you're like, oh, that's it.
Yeah, I think that's right. I don't know. We even need to do a show now, though. It's a fun story.
Just buried the Loch Ness Monster.
Not officially. Maybe people will disagree with us. They certainly disagreed with us on Bigfoot.
It's true.
People fucking fired up.
And just does everyone know that loch just means lake? Like I always, like before I knew that, I'm like, oh, well, loch. That seems very exotic. It's just the Gaelic word for lake.
Yeah, like it's a different body of water or something.
A lake.
It is kind of different,
it's like
though.
Lake Erie. Lake Ness.
Loch Erie. Loch Erie.
I know you did some geography stuff, but the way that the lake is shaped, it creates a really weird temperature in like
it never freezes.
Right, and it creates this the sediment, like how everything lays, is really weird.
It's dark because when it rains, it pulls the peat off of the hillsides on all the sides, so and it runs down into the water, so it's black. It's a very dark loch. Very dark loch. I mean, geography-wise, it's like, was it like 450 miles northwest of London, as the crow flies, as they say. So up in the Scottish Highlands, which is supposed to be just a beautiful area. I'd love to get up there someday. It's a great place to do an outdoors, guys.
Yeah.
If you ever want to do an outdoors, that might be the place. Just majestic scenery.
So the legend of the Loch Ness Monster kicks off all the way back in 565 AD with St. Columba. St. Columba was kind of a jack of all trades. He was a missionary and a scholar who helped spread Christianity in Scotland. He was also a statesman, a diplomat, historical scholar, author, and a poet. And on top of all of that, he founded a bunch of churches and monasteries.
How did he find the time? Like, were the days longer back then? There's a lot of professions. Like, I'm a podcaster and a drinker and an eater and a sleeper. Like, how do you do all these different things?
It's a lot. That's exhausting to read. Like,
Seems like a lot. It's quite a LinkedIn profile for this guy, though.
It's not bad. Might be padding his resume a little
Substantial,
bit.
yeah,
though.
maybe a little bit.
Yeah, what's the evidence that he did all these things?
Yeah,
Like, I wrote a haiku once. Am I now a poet?
100% you are.
Okay.
St. Columba's biographer, St. Adaman, recorded his encounter with the Loch Ness Monster on August 22nd, 565 AD. And said, quote,
Traveling in Scotland, Columba had to cross the Loch Ness. On the banks, he saw some of the Pict folk burying a man who had been bitten by a water monster while swimming. The body had been pulled from the loch with the aid of a hook by rescuers who had come to his assistance in a boat. Despite the danger, Columba ordered one of his followers to swim across the loch and bring back a coble, which is a boat, that was moored on the other side. This man's name was Ligny Macumen, which is more like Mo Cummin. Without hesitation, Ligny stripped for the swim and plunged in. The monster, robbed of its earlier feast, surfaced and darted at Ligny with a roar, its jaws open.
Like that?
Maybe.
All right.
Everyone on the bank was stupefied with terror. Everyone except Columba, that is. A firm believer in the authority of the crucified Christ, he raised his hand, making the sign of the cross. Invoking the name of God, he commanded the beast, saying, "You will go no further and won't touch the man. Go back at once." At the voice of the saint, the monster fled as if terrified, more quickly than it had been pulled back with ropes.
God damn, it really worked.
At the voice of the saint.
I am a saint, and you shall not eat this man. You shall go back. Go back, Loch Ness Monster.
Well, that's hard evidence right there.
I'm sold. So what happened to Lugni? Like, Lugni was just okay? How about don't jump in the water, Lugni, because Mr.
Columba made him. What are you supposed to do? I'm going to say no? You want him to stand up for himself?
Columba. You can't say no to me.
I mean, the man can restrain a monster. What's Lugni going to do?
I'm but a mere Lugni.
I'm fucking Lugni.
Your name is Lugni. You will do what I say, Popper.
It's going to be really funny when we're butchering the name and people come at us for that, and we're just like,
We said it wrong multiple times.
We're doubling down on Lugni.
I mean, there's no chance it's proper
No, it's not.
pronunciation.
It's 100%
We don't care.
wrong, but I don't want to turn my phone, get my phone and listen and do a whole thing.
Just go eat some haggis and don't worry about how we pronounce it.
The other thing
It's
is,
fine.
as much as I always read the quotes, I always forget every week that it's my job to read the quotes.
Oh, I know.
And so I never.
He's like, is this me? I've never done this before. Well, it's only our 200th, 300th episode.
So,
I'm reading the quotes.
I'll see the quotes in the notes, but I don't pay extra attention.
Oh,
to
we
them.
know, we know.
Just read them, and then I'm like, oh fuck, now I got to learn this name. We'll do it live.
Is this me?
We'll do it live.
What? I've never done this before.
People will see that next month on our live show,
Yeah.
Live show next month.
live stream of how we record.
Patreon.com/Necronomipod, the $10 level. You can join us for a watch us in the studio, I guess. That's what people want.
Are you going to do that? Oh, is that me? Huh?
Maybe.
Quote? What?
Maybe. I don't know.
If I get to a quote and I say, and then
Oh,
I
you
say
got to do
quote,
quotes.
Well, because
And
occasionally
then I look at him. He's like, "Oh, you want me to do
you want
this?"
me to do that?
because he works me.
Never asked me before.
Sometimes he reads his own quotes.
Sometimes I do.
That's
go
a
into
good
business
point.
for
Yeah.
myself.
They're very short quotes. He does read them.
Typically the
All right,
short ones
I'm going
he
to
does.
retract everything I just said about you. You're right. A valid point.
So there's times where I'm waiting, I'm a little bit alert, I see a quote coming up,
Yeah.
and then he just keeps reading. I'm like, all right, guess I'm gonna take a break.
A lot of quotes in this episode, though. So I would
prepared
expect
for
you to be
zero.
aware and ready to go.
Not one. You know what? And moving for the rest of this, let's just have fun with it. We're not even gonna kayfabe. I'm just gonna read the names as I see them.
As you see it.
As I see fit.
However comes to your mind.
Yep. And the next one is gonna have a real barn burner.
In other words, UK people suck it. Mike's doing it his way. He's doing it his way.
Fucking Shawn Michaels went over there in September of 1997 and fucking beat the British Bulldog. I'm doing it my way.
That's what you're doing right now.
Huh? I'm gonna fucking throw a knee brace at some sister. We are really in the deep cuts on that one.
So the way I wrote this outline, I figured the best way to do it was just to go in kind of chronological order of the sightings. So that first one happened in 565 AD. The next up is D. Mackenzie in 1871 or 1872.
Which is it, Ian?
Well, he gives a roundabout. He says it might be one of those years. And his story wasn't told until 1934.
Oh. So it's like the Bible. It was written, 500 years later.
Yeah.
Not exactly an eyewitness account. I understand.
And this was after the Loch Ness Monster's popularity had grown
Oh, I see. So there was some incentive to come back with this story. Hey, I saw that thing too. 60-something years ago. All right.
Oh yeah, I didn't tell you guys.
Yeah.
this.
Oh, remember that 65 years ago? Yeah.
This D. Mackenzie sent his story to Rupert Gold. Rupert Gold was another guy that was kind of a jack of all trades with things, but he was real big into cryptozoology. And he ended up writing a book about the Loch Ness Monster called The Loch Ness Monster and Others, where he brought up other cryptids that he...
It's a good title, pal.
It's straight and to the point. So about the Mackenzie sightings, Rupert wrote, quote,
Mike, that's you right here. It's you right here.
All right, here I go.
Start right now.
I saw it about
kayfabe.
1871 or two, as near as I can remember now. I was on the rock above Abriacon, taking home bracken in October, when I saw what I took to be a log of wood coming across the loch from Aldery side. The water was very calm at the time. I expected it to go down the loch towards the river. When it reached the middle of the loch, however, it suddenly appeared to come to life and seemed to me to look exactly like an upturned boat and went at great speed, wriggling and churning up the water in the direction of Urquhart Castle. It was about 12 o'clock on a grand sunny day, so that it was impossible for me to be mistaken. It was an animal of some sort, and I have told the same story to my friends long before the present monster became famous. Oh, he told all his buddies about it.
It's kind of the same trend going on here. These stories coming out after the fact. The next sighting that's documented is from 1888. A mason named Alexander MacDonald from Abriachan saw a, quote, large stubby-legged animal, which was described as looking a lot like a salamander. Even pictures of his version of the sighting, it pretty much looks like a big salamander walking.
Are salamanders native to the Loch Ness?
I believe so.
Okay.
I think newts
That would
are
make
as
sense
well.
then.
I think newts are as well. Newts are pretty similar. Coming out of the loch, this salamander-like creature pushed itself within 50 yards of the shore where MacDonald was standing. His story was also featured in Rupert Gould's book, which read, quote,
It appears that some 40 years ago in Abriachan...
44, sir.
It appears that some 44 years ago, an Abriachan mason, Alexander MacDonald, often saw a strange creature disporting itself on the loch in the early hours of the morning. Mr. MacDonald, who was a regular traveler on the Loch Ness mail steamer between Abriachan and Inverness, was often known to arrive at Abriachan Pier in a state of subdued excitement. And after having boarded the steamer, he sometimes volunteered the information that he had seen the salamander, as he called it. It should be added that Mr. MacDonald died a good many years ago.
A salamander probably killed him.
Salamanders are pretty cool. You ever find one before?
No? Are they fun?
I remember as a kid seeing them.
Yeah. See them under some dry leaves on the woods, whatever.
Yeah.
They were okay. They scurry away.
I don't really like wildlife. It doesn't do anything for me.
I just go approach it.
I go the opposite way.
Well, they're not very big. It's not going to attack you, Dave.
Yeah. It's fun. Scurries along with its stupid tail.
Yeah.
Step on it and be done. Go on your
You
way.
very well could. Ends any threat.
So all that stuff was after the fact. The first publication that really attracted a ton of attention to the Loch Ness Monster was an article from May 2nd, 1933, written by Alex Campbell for the Inverness Courier. That article talked about a sighting witnessed by a woman named Aldi McKay.
Loch Ness has for generations been credited with being the home of a fearsome-looking monster. But somehow or other, the water kelpie, as this legendary creature is called, has always been regarded as a myth, if not a joke. Now, however, comes the news that the beast has been seen once more. For on Friday of last week, a well-known businessman who lives in Inverness and his wife, a university graduate, when motoring along the north shore of the loch, not far from Abriachan Pier, were startled to see a tremendous upheaval on the loch, which previously had been as calm as the proverbial mill pond. The lady was first to notice the disturbance, which occurred fully 3/4 of a mile from the shore, and it was her sudden cries to stop that drew her husband's attention to the water.
Stop! Stop!
That's very good. That's about what it probably sounded like.
What?
There the creature disported itself, rolling and plunging for fully a minute, its body resembling that of a whale, and the water cascading and churning like a simmering cauldron. Soon, however, it disappeared in a boiling mass of foam. Both onlookers confessed that there was something uncanny about the whole thing. Because, apart from its enormous size, the beast, in taking the final plunge, sent out waves that were big enough to have been caused by passing steamer.
A Cleveland steamer?
I think he probably wishes at this point. The watchers waited for almost half an hour in the hope that the monster, if it such was, would come to surface again, but they had seen the last of it. Questions as to the length of the beast, the lady stated that, judging by the state of the water in the affected area, it seemed to be many feet long. It will be remembered that a few years ago, a party of Inverness anglers reported that when crossing the loch in a rowing boat, they encountered an unknown creature whose bulk, movements, and the amount of water displaced at once suggested that it was either a very large seal, a porpoise, or indeed the monster itself. But the story, which duly appeared in the press, received scant attention and less credence. In fact, most of the people who were aired their views on the matter did so in a manner that bespoke feelings of the utmost skepticism. It should be mentioned that, so far as it is known, neither seals nor porpoises have ever been known to enter Loch Ness. Indeed, in the case of the latter, it would be utterly impossible for them to do so. And as to the seals, it is the fact that though they have on rare occasions been seen in the River Ness, their presence in Loch Ness has never been definitely established.
So some interesting stuff there, like we'll talk about later. Seals do get in there sometimes.
Yeah.
Which could probably account for some of this.
Probably.
Audie McKay, she stuck to her story until she died. Like you see it like old Loch Ness TV shows or something. Mm-hmm. Usually she was willing to talk to people like up until she died, like very old.
What year? Wait, what year is this?
1933. 33, yeah.
Okay. So it's like some of those documentaries from the 70s and whatnot. Yeah. I went back and I watched Leonard Nimoy's In Search of.
Yeah, really early shit, yeah.
Which I love. That show. It's so good. You see, you watch those documentaries and you see all the old people being interviewed and you're like none of these people are alive anymore. And it's
like watching an old WrestleMania.
You're not wrong.
I don't want to bury the Loch Ness Monster this early in the show, but I have been walking. Like, there's a couple trails around here that go around a body of water. Mm-hmm. Can't remember the one exactly, but there's a pretty big body of water and a huge fish swam up at the top. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like for a second, it threw me off. Mm-hmm. Like that's fucking huge. So I think based on the fact that there are seals that have gotten into the Loch Ness, I think there's a solid chance the early sightings are probably seals.
I think that's a very definite possibility.
Because if I've never seen a seal before and I see a seal swimming around, I'm like, wow.
That'd be fucked up.
You're like,
what?
What the fuck was that?
Like I just saw a big fish at the little body of water out here, and I'm like, whoa.
Did you put your hand in like you do at the aquarium?
I did.
No one there to get in trouble with, right?
That's true. No security.
I did not.
Oh, tough guy when you're down at the aquarium. Out in the wild, he's not putting his hand in the water, huh?
You're going to get fucking Steve Irwin. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Have you ever lost a job, had a bad breakup, or simply just felt stuck in life? Ever wish life came with a user manual, much like our cars or appliances do? Wouldn't that be great? Lost your job? Turn to page 63. Just got dumped? Turn to page 32. Feeling depressed? That'll be on page 104. Unfortunately, it's not that simple. However, BetterHelp Online Therapy is basically the next best thing. So the next time you're feeling stuck, why not check them out? BetterHelp therapists are trained to help you figure out the cause of challenging emotions and learn productive coping skills, which makes therapy the closest thing to a guided tour of the complex engine called you. BetterHelp has connected over 3 million people with licensed therapists. It's convenient and accessible anywhere, all done online. Therapy can have many benefits, be it learning new coping skills, self-empowerment, dealing with trauma, or even having a clearer mind. Look, everyone deserves to feel their best, and BetterHelp makes it easier to get started. They're the world's largest therapy service and offer all the benefits of in-person therapy, but are more convenient, accessible, and more affordable. After filling out a brief questionnaire, you'll be matched with a therapist, and from there, if things aren't clicking, you can easily switch to a new therapist whenever you'd like. It couldn't be simpler. No waiting rooms, no traffic, no endless searching for the right therapist. So get unstuck with BetterHelp. Learn more and save 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/necro. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/necro.
On July 22nd, 1933, George Spicer and his wife saw a creature cross the road in front of their car, headed toward the loch. This sighting truly sparked the popularity of the Loch Ness Monster. And while the Inverness Courier wrote an article about the Spicer sighting, like Audie McKay's, the Loch Ness Monster enthusiasts say that Rupert Gould's interview of George Spicer is the best recounting of this story. In his book, Rupert wrote, quote,
Oh, is that me?
"It is you."
They had passed through Doris and were on their way towards Foyers when, as the car was climbing a slight rise, an extraordinary-looking creature crossed the road ahead of them from left to right in a series of jerks. When on the road, it took up practically the whole width of it. He saw no definite head, but this was across the road before he had time to take the whole thing in properly. It was in sight for a few seconds. The creature was of a loathsome-looking grayish color, like a dirty elephant or a rhinoceros. It had a very long and thin neck, which undulated up and down and was contorted into a series of half hoops. The body was much thicker and moved across the road, as already stated, in a series of jerks. He saw no indications of any legs or a tail, but in front of the body, where this sloped down to the neck, he saw something flopping up and down, which, on reflection, he thought might have been the end of a long tail swung round to the far side of the body. The latter stood from some 4 to 5 feet above the road. The whole looked like a huge snail with a long neck.
Like, I didn't realize there were stories of them walking out of the water and stuff. Like, that's a whole different kind of thing.
And that's the story that kind of really kicked off the popularity. And that's something I didn't realize either. You always think of the famous surgeon's photo, which we're going to talk about later.
Yeah.
You don't think about the Loch Ness Monster crossing the street.
Da-doop, 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 da-doop.
Like he's in the woods doing something,
Yeah.
like hanging out.
That's a
doing
different
something.
story.
Probably fucking.
Probably.
Whatever they fuck.
What else would you get out of the water for?
Whatever Loch Ness do.
Loch Ness.
You added pictures to our notes this week.
I did. I was trying to be professional.
I like that.
It's good visual instead of us just sitting here Googling it in the middle of the show.
No, I think it's good. Yeah. I like visual. It helps me.
The first picture of the Loch Ness Monster came from a guy named Hugh Gray on November 12th, 1933. It's not great. I don't know.
Something. I don't know what that is.
Something's happening in
It's
the
like
water.
an old car maybe drove into the water.
over here.
Yeah.
It's very blurry. I mean, it could be a giant snake just sitting on the top of the water.
So let me see again.
It could be like picture caught in the, like someone could have thrown something in the water and that's just one of the frames.
Could have been like a log. Yeah, like you throw in the water and like as it's like going up and down at the first throw. Yeah.
On January 5th, 1934, a veterinarian student named Arthur Grant was riding his motorcycle near the loch around 1 a.m. It was a clear night, so the moon was lighting up his surroundings, and when Arthur was approaching a Briacon, he almost hit the Loch Ness Monster as he was crossing the road. According to Arthur, it had a small head and a long neck. He said the Loch Ness Monster saw him and then crossed the road back to the loch. Like got scared almost. At that point, Arthur said that he got off his motorcycle and followed the Loch Ness Monster back to the loch, but didn't actually see the monster go in, just saw the ripples of water. Arthur drew a picture of what he saw and described it as a mix between a seal and a plesiosaur. And that's the first mention of plesiosaur, which is what we all know the Loch Ness Monster look like now. That's the dinosaur with the the big body,
Big neck, long neck.
Picture number 1 in our notes.
It's got some flippers.
See, I want that thing to exist.
I mean, it did exist.
500 million years ago.
Yeah.
I want that to be the Loch Ness Monster now, I mean.
Who wouldn't want that? Sure.
Yeah, maybe it survived. I mean, that's the thought process from here on out is that potentially this dinosaur survived and is in the Loch Ness.
Seems unlikely. My opinion.
On April 21st, 1934, the Daily Mail published the infamous picture of the Loch Ness Monster. This one we were talking about earlier that everybody has seen. And it gives that distinct plesiosaur look, the long neck with a small head coming out of the water. The photo was supposedly taken by a London gynecologist named Robert Kenneth Wilson. However, he didn't want to be associated with the picture, so it just became known as the surgeon's photograph. For 60 years, this picture was considered to be real by people who believe in the Loch Ness Monster.
Well, the surgeon probably just didn't. He didn't want his gynecological practice to be distracted. I get it. I don't want to speculum. You know, image is important when you're in the cervix industry.
He's here all night, folks. He's got 100 more. This is their Gimli Patterson photo.
Well, I thought this was like the biggest evidence is this picture. Like this picture is the
be all end all.
So for 60 years, this picture was considered to be real by people who believe in the Loch Ness Monster. And then on the other side, skeptics said it was everything from an otter to a whale's penis, which the whale's penis really makes a lot of sense.
I pulled a picture of a whale's penis. You guys want to see it? Look at that thing.
Well,
that thing's excited. Look at that whale penis.
But
it's not huge though.
In the angle that it comes out of the water.
It's nice and pink and against the black and white whale backdrop. That's a good looking penis.
I could have went my whole life not seeing that.
Let me enlarge it a little bit more for you. Is that better, that whale penis?
All right, so he's got that crazy one. That's what it looks like if it just shoots up out of the water.
Oh, yep.
That's a good looking penis. It's got a nice curve to it. He's got Peyronie's disease, that whale.
Settle down there, Dave.
That's a good looking whale penis. What kind of whale is that, Ian? Look at the size of that whale penis. It looks like a tail.
But that's what I mean. Like a shitty old camera takes, like you can see it.
You can see, yeah.
There's no whales.
See how that could have been a whale penis.
Yeah, I mean, there's no whales in the Loch Ness. There's no evidence of that, but that's a thought.
It'd be more likely at this point than it being the Loch Ness Monster.
Dinosaur survived versus a whale's penis.
I have whale penis nightmares tonight. We can smack
nightmares, Dave, or wet dreams.
Smacked around with a whale penis in my face.
Pollywop.
Smack. Whale penis.
Pollywopped.
That'll be a sperm whale.
Oh, no, please stop. No. Oh, no, stop. No, keep going. No, don't stop. Why'd you stop?
Unfortunately, this picture has been proven to be a hoax.
What?
In 1993, Christian Sperling, the stepson of a movie maker and big game hunter named Duke Wetherell.
Marmaduke.
Yeah, Marmaduke.
Marmaduke's much cooler. Nickname Duke.
And he looks like a...
Marmaduke.
Yeah, stereotypical. Like the Outback hat and all this stuff. Yeah. He admitted to making the model for the Loch Ness Monster out of some plastic in a tin plate toy submarine. Two Loch Ness Monster researchers, like two enthusiasts that have spent their whole lives trying to figure all this stuff out, David Martin and Alistair Boyd, tracked down Christian Sperling, and he told them that his stepfather, Duke Wetherell, asked him to build a fake monster. Duke came up with the plan as revenge on the London Daily Mail newspaper. When this stuff came out in 1933 and 1934, it was big news. Everybody was,
Loch Ness Monster frenzy.
Yeah, everybody wanted to talk about Loch Ness Monster.
I bet.
So in 1933, the Daily Mail hired Duke Wetherell to find the Loch Ness Monster. Soon after arriving at the loch, Duke found some strange tracks of a four-toed creature in the soft mud near the water. He estimated that whatever left the tracks must have been 20 feet long. There were plaster casts made and sent to the London Museum of Natural History, but a few weeks later, the museum announced that the tracks were not of a monster, but they were of a hippo. There was also speculation that Duke actually faked those tracks using like one of those really big old ashtrays.
Like a bronze imprint of the...
And was able to make those hippo prints,
Is 20 feet long a little big for a hippo? I'm trying to imagine that. And maybe I'm wrong. I guess I've never been really up close to a hippo.
Is it the stride that's 20 feet long?
Like, I was just thinking, like, the way, where the front paws and the back paws were. 20 feet seems a little big, no, for a hippo? Maybe I've.
Well, like if you like this, like the front and the back stretching out.
But are they running like that they'd be so far up? Like, I've never seen a hippo move
I don't know.
fast.
It was a fake. I don't think it was doing anything.
But that's what they're saying. It was a hippo.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
I mean, from their standpoint, then they're trying to explain what it might have been.
Yeah. But I guess I don't understand that the hippo. Like, there's no fucking hippos in Scotland. Why would you pick that as to try to fake?
They're picking seals, whales, hippos.
Like, it's just dumb.
They're taking everything except the truth that this thing exists.
But it's a weird. It's
weird.
It's a weird print that's not that people from that area wouldn't be familiar with. So people wouldn't look at it and be like, "Oh, that's a hippo print."
But they picked a big game hunter to come and look at it. Like a big game hunter, wouldn't he have been like, "That's a fucking hippo. There's no hippos in Scotland. What the fuck?"
That's why people,
think that maybe he was the one doing the hoax.
He probably
not
did
them.
He portrayed it as someone hoaxed him.
Right.
So how he's saying is that somebody hoaxed him and the Daily Mail.
And the Daily Mail put it on him.
Right.
Well, maybe he did the hoax. It didn't turn out so well. He's like, well, try to push it back on them.
Yeah.
Like a Marmaduke. Bad hoax, homie. There's no hippos in Scotland. Dumb fuck.
But wouldn't he have known that, though? Like, he didn't say hippo.
Did he think that...
He didn't say hippo. He just probably didn't... They called his bluff, maybe.
Right. He thought
by
maybe
saying,
they weren't
it's a
going
hippo.
to investigate it. He's like, I'm going to put these tracks here. No one will know what a hippo is in Scotland.
Yeah.
Nah, a big game hunter like me who's been to Africa knows what a hippo is, but no one else does. Called your bluff, Marmaduke.
And in his version, they publicly humiliated him by calling him on this, and somebody fucked with him. It wasn't him doing
I wonder what
it.
the real story is. Well, somebody hoaxed
That
it.
might be the most interesting thing about this, is I want to know that real story. Who's working who?
Like, did someone at the Daily Mail have an axe to grind with this guy? And they're like, we're going to set this fucking Marmaduke up with some fake prints. But then he was a big game hunter. He should have recognized the prints. I think it's him that did the hoaxing.
I think he was trying to get a payday out of this and say that he found some Loch Ness
I think that's
Monster
right.
tracks.
Yeah, they didn't set him up. Other way around. He's just mad that he's salty. He got caught.
Just fucking Barry Duke, I guess. All right. We're going with that angle.
According to his stepson, Christian Sperling, Duke said, quote, "We'll give them their monster." And he started building. Christian wasn't part of the actual picture taking. It was Duke's biological son, Ian Wetherell, and Duke, who took the completed model and a camera to the loch and photographed it on a quiet bay. Then they sank the evidence in the mud at the edge of the lake. The undeveloped film was then passed to Robert Wilson, who had them developed. He then sold the photo to the Daily Mail, and then they all stayed quiet for 60 years. And Duke Wetherell died with this shit.
I love this. I love hoaxes. I love that he took it to his grave. If we could come up with a fucking hoax like this to hoax the world, I would also take it to my grave. It's fantastic.
But the
60 years until this
awesome.
was found
It's
out that this
awesome.
photo is not real.
The fact that he was so passionate about this, though, makes me think he truly believed he was wronged. Which maybe he didn't do the initial hoax.
Yeah.
Like, if you're that fired up, 60 years worth of this, like, you felt scorned, I think.
That you're willing to take it to your grave.
Yeah.
Or maybe he just he liked hoaxes and he felt like he didn't do a good job the first time with the hippo.
Big prankster.
And he's like, I'm going to fucking up my game here and I'm going to come up with a real hoax that's going to last forever.
Could be that. Yeah, maybe.
I love it. So great. Hoaxes are the best. Those fucking guys, those guys that did the crop circles just fucking with people. It's so great. I love it. I love it so much.
That became that's the...
Good for Marmaduke.
That might be the...
Good for Marmaduke.
He was burying this guy 2
Fantastic.
minutes ago. Now he's a hero.
Honestly, until I read this outline, I didn't know this whole thing was fake. Like you grow up hearing about the Loch Ness Monster. You see that picture. I just took that for it was a legitimate picture.
Yeah.
Until I read this outline, I didn't know that anyone had ever owned up to the fake. It's great. I love it. Good for you, Marmaduke. Fuck yeah.
Don't love the big game hunting.
No.
But I like the fact that he went to his grave with this.
Oh yeah, dedication, man. It's fucking great.
No animals were harmed in the making of this prank.
That's right.
Like, so we can
Now, even if he kayfabed the prints, they were made out of an ashtray. Like that's been proven.
Yeah, it was
the fake
mold.
hippo
Yeah.
prints were made out of an ashtray and some other shit.
Yeah, like a bronze imprint.
Yeah.
It's great. I mean, big game hunting was a thing back then. Like they loved big game hunting. Like Teddy Roosevelt kept that manifest of the animals he killed in Africa on that safari. Like it was thousands,
wrote books about
thousands and thousands of animals.
this thing. He's a big fan. Hey, it's still a thing today, pal. It's still going.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, unfortunately.
It's so weird. Like who could shoot an elephant? Like who would just fucking shoot an elephant?
It's a very odd thing
Who could
to
do
want
that?
to do. It's not a sport.
No, it's very strange.
It's very odd to want to kill something just for the hell of it.
If you're not going to
Killing
eat it.
deer for food, that's
Yeah, that's
whatever. That's life. I mean,
agree.
yeah,
Yeah, like I eat hamburgers. I can't.
right.
If people are going to shoot deer to eat them, I have no leg to stand on in criticizing that. But we just shoot elephants for sport or that kind of thing.
Yeah, like you're just gonna go out and kill a
There's something
zebra.
very wrong about that.
Well, and back then too, like, I remember reading in one of Roosevelt's biographies, like he used to just love to go out west and like just camp, like just go sleep under the stars and like just go live out there for weeks. Like in that sense, like there's, you have to defend yourself as well from whatever you see.
Sure.
There was a little bit more of that factor back then. Now, I'm not saying, traveling across the globe to go kill things.
Yeah.
He did some of that as well, but yeah, so.
Just like the Jimmy John's guy, like very wealthy people that are just pretty much pay to have exotic animals just basically dropped in front of them.
yeah, you're
so
not
they can
hunting
shoot
anything,
them.
yeah.
You're paying someone, an impoverished person from that area of the world to wrangle those animals and drop them in front of you to kill.
Yeah, it's like when people get mad at me, then I go into the pet store and I just reach into the goldfish tank and I like catch lunch. They're like, you can't do that. I was like, what? I'm just hunting.
You
What's
start
so bad
killing-
about that?
You start taking it out.
Sir,
on
you're at the
fish.
mall.
I'm like, oh,
not in
so
Zambia.
I have to go to the grocery store to buy goldfish to eat out of a bag. I can't just catch my own fresh ones. Out of here.
And I'm not coming out against hunting before you send me stuff. I get it.
Yeah,
It's a complicated thing, and there's conservation ranges where those trophy hunts, pay.
Yeah, we're talking about wealthy people that
We're
pay
talking
just
about
to kill animals.
not to eat, not to whatever, but yeah,
Ooh, you guys are going to get some DMs.
that's fine.
I'll stand by that.
I've been hunting.
I love
Don't
Jimmy
come at
John.
me with that bullshit.
I
I've been
love
hunting.
Jimmy John's. They're delicious sandwiches. That gargantuan is not to be scoffed at.
I had Jimmy John's delivered last night.
It's freaky fast. So good.
If I boycotted every corporation in this country because I didn't agree with their policies,
you wouldn't go
I
anywhere.
would do nothing.
You
I
wouldn't
wouldn't.
get nothing.
I wouldn't
This
be
is
able to
true.
buy anything. Or there's some that are very egregious, in my opinion, that I do not go to.
Jimmy John's makes the cut, though.
Yeah, and I respect Ian's opinion on eating Jimmy John's.
I'm still. I'll pay for it. He said I can send him a gargantuan once.
Yeah, like
He
I'm
needs
just not
to
going to give him
experience
my
that.
money to it.
I'll give him my money. One for you, one for me.
Those Jimmy Peppers are fucking awesome, dude.
Forget about it. Out of this world. Shut the fuck up, Surrey. Every episode that thing goes off.
don't
Dave's
know-
watch.
I don't know what keyword it is.
I think we just ordered Jimmy John's.
It might be coming. Hello, freaky fast. They're at the door already.
Gargantuan
Hello,
sandwiches
hello.
for everybody.
So in 33, that picture was published, and there wasn't a big event for the Loch Ness Monster until a study in 1970 by the American Academy of Applied Science. The group, headed by Dr. Robert Rines, used automatic cameras and sonar to monitor the loch. In 1972, one of the underwater cameras got 4 frames of what appeared to be a flipper, 6 to 8 feet long. One night, Peter Davies, a member of Ryan's team, was out in a small boat in the loch when he detected something under his boat with sonar. Peter said, quote, "I don't mind telling you it was a rather strange feeling, rowing across the pitch black water, knowing there was a very large animal just 30 feet below. It was the sheer size of the echo trace that was frightening."
I bet.
They have their picture of the flipper.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, it could be anything. You can tell me
It could be a very large underwater clip, Mike.
You can tell me that's a picture of the moon, and I'd be like, okay. Like,
I mean, you can see the flipper though, right?
I mean, you can see that, yeah.
Of course. But, you know,
the alleged flipper.
alleged flipper. I'm not sure what that is.
A second search was done by Rhines in 1975. One picture appeared to show the head, neck, and upper torso of a plesiosaur-like animal. But skeptics argue that the object is a log, and they're saying that there's a lump on what would be the quote-unquote chest area, the mass of sediment in the full photo, and the object's log skin-like texture. So they're basically just saying the bark of the log is giving the skin texture.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see where it's going. You know, the long neck reaching around. I would presume this is the neck, ends with the head right there.
It sure looks like it. You know, that's very similar.
This seems to be the most looked at picture.
Yeah, I get that. It looks like it. I'll be honest. I see it there.
That's better than the last fucking photo of the moon.
Another picture showed, it's called the gargoyle head picture, which is in line with some of the sightings of the Loch Ness Monster, like this almost like dragon type. A lot of the old stories, it's more like a dragon, like a mix between a salamander and a dragon. So that kind of would line up with this gargoyle head picture.
That's what people want to see, a dragon-like thing.
Skeptics of the gargoyle head point out that a tree stump was later filmed during Operation Deep Scan in 1987, which looked exactly like the gargoyle head.
So I was looking at that one a little bit. They had like 24 boats out there on the water, like for a couple days, just scanning. Also, they found nothing.
Nothing.
Full sonar sweep of the whole loch. Nothing.
It's hard to argue that.
A couple of unexplained things at the bottom, but like, again, no evidence.
Right.
There was a big group of researchers from the universities of Otago, Copenhagen, Hull, and the Highlands and Islands. They did a DNA survey of the loch in June of 2018 looking for unusual species. They didn't find any DNA of large fish like sharks, sturgeons, and catfish couldn't be found. There were no otters or seal DNA found either, but there was a lot of eel DNA. That team never found any big eels, but they couldn't rule out their existence. I also watched a show on the History Channel about the Loch Ness Monster, a more recent one.
Yeah.
And they had some guys out there doing some sonar stuff and fishing. And one of those guys pulled up a sturgeon, not out of the loch, but on where the mouth of the loch, you know, a sturgeon could easily slip into it. And the size of the sturgeon he pulled up was fucking huge. And it had like it had these scales on it that were really dinosaur-like scales that you could see, like how I talked about earlier, how I saw some big fish in a pond. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
If you saw that swimming, you know, and it just came up just enough, you'd be like, well, that's something crazy. That's not normal. I also saw towards the end of his life, Dr. Rhines, who did these studies throughout the 70s, he started to believe that the Loch Ness Monster had died. And because of those weird cold temperatures, how it never freezes, he said that he found evidence of dead animals, dead fish or eel turning into like a gelatin because of that cold. Like their body never fully decomposed, their bones, and then this kind of gelatinous type material. So his final theory before he died, what he was looking to at the end of his life, was that the Loch Ness Monster was dead, and he was looking for that gelatinous like carcass of the Loch Ness Monster down there somewhere.
I guess if it was the last one, it can't breed. So when it goes, right? What are we feeling about this? I watched this documentary the other day on the Otago guys and their whole thing, and they stretched out a bunch of rope and like ran it through the whole loch to pull those DNA samples. It was pretty cool, actually. Is it enough to get every DNA sample in the whole loch? They said it was. They're scientists, so I believe them.
Take their word for it.
I'm gonna have to.
Well, I mean, you're surely not going to do all the research.
Yeah, I'm not flying out there to do it, so
Yeah.
I'm going to take their word for it. I feel like if that picture, the hoaxed picture from the 30s, had never been done, like we wouldn't even be hearing about the Loch Ness the past 80 years.
We would not.
It would not be a thing. It would have been a local Scottish legend that died, and no one outside of Scotland ever would have heard about it again.
Yeah.
Maybe so. I came into, before even reading the notes, kind of believing this one. And then you read the notes and it's just all old timey type stuff. Like there's nothing recent. There's nothing
Legend.
like, it's just legend. It's
Yeah.
hearsay. And like, some of this stuff is, well, I've been telling my friends this for years, but I waited till after it came out to tell my story.
I saw that thing in the 1800s. Yeah. All right.
This is one I believed. I thought I would have believed coming into it and wanted to believe it and got convinced otherwise.
You grow up hearing about it and you just you take it for granted that.
And well, I think I believed coming in, I truly believed that people saw something. And we've done episodes about how there's probably things living in water that we just don't know or are aware of. Well, there is, thousands of things that they say deep in the oceans. This clearly isn't an ocean.
In the oceans, yeah.
In the
probably
ocean,
tons
right.
of
This is
undiscovered
not-
species. Yeah.
So
I
coming
agree.
in, I thought maybe there is something living in here that just they haven't quite found yet. Maybe not a monster, but something. But then after the notes, I don't believe that, and it's just it's a legend.
I think that's right. I'm not going to 100% say no, it doesn't exist, but I've seen no evidence to date that proves it exists.
If this was an ocean or a much bigger body of water, I would be convinced more so that this was real. But given that
That's fair.
it's just a loch.
A loch.
Yeah.
A loch, a lake.
The plesiosaur isn't as big as you would think it is. Like you hear dinosaur and you're like, oh shit, that's fucking huge. That's what it's compared to a person. It's not that big.
Okay. Yeah. That's not very big.
That could go undetected in a body of water. It's not that big.
But you think even, and you're right, it's not as big as nearly as big as we, at least as I made it out to be in my mind. But with all the research they've done, they couldn't find this thing yet.
I think by now you would have found
Something. What do you make of these eyewitness accounts where it climbs out of the water, though? I think this is a salamander or something, like you said.
I don't know. Those
Like
are
that's-
fucking weird.
But a salamander's not that big.
That's an eyewitness account of a couple people saw walking across the road. Like that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, that's a weird thing because the typical Loch Ness Monster is not walking across a road.
It's the hoax photo is what you think of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think of the dinosaur looking thing
But are
coming
people
out
just
of the water.
dicking around? Like it's fun to fuck with people. Like, oh yeah, I was driving down here by the loch, and
I mean, we
there's,
cleared that up on our bonus one we just recorded. Like, I think it's funny that they were stomping out hats. So it's funny to fuck with people.
it is.
Patreon.com/Necronomicon, the $10 tier, the debut of Dave's Lost Stories coming sometime after you hear this. Sometime in February. We're not sure when we're going to drop that one.
I without any physical evidence, like I take these eyewitness accounts with a grain of salt. I don't know that they're. I think it's just people having a good time sometimes.
Or
It's
people just trying to maybe profit. I'm sorry, I cut you off the legend, and maybe trying to get that book deal or an interview or whatever.
and we've talked about ocean episode. Like when we've talked about the oceans, like we know there's definitely stuff down there that we have no idea what's going on. I was just watching the other day off the coast of Japan. They found a shark that we thought was extinct from like forever, and they found one alive, and it's fucking crazy. Look, it does not look like a shark.
Wow, that's cool.
It looks like a dinosaur for real. So I think that's obviously it's possible.
I agree. I think it's 100% possible. I don't think the evidence that we've seen here tonight points to it.
No.
Yeah, well, I think it's 800 feet deep. This loch, so
Yeah.
it's pretty fucking deep.
And the plesiosaur is not as big as you think. When you think dinosaur, it's bigger than a person, but not by too much. But what's it do? It can't just stay down there forever.
Are plesiosaurs mammals though? Like, do they need to come up for air? They're not fish.
it would need to come up for air.
So I feel like somebody at some point would see it surfacing for air.
Well, that's where it's walking across the street doing whatever it's doing.
It's not like it's living 300 feet down. It's not a fish.
Right.
So the chances that it exists there but has never been seen, everyone has a camera now.
Unless it evolved to be able to stay down.
To breathe underwater.
How big did we say the loch was? Did we talk about that at all? Like, is it a size of a Great Lake here in the United States?
Well, it's narrow. It's like 1,000 feet wide it goes up to like Inverness down to.
So it's not, it's long, but it's
long
not,
and narrow.
So it's almost river-esque.
Long and if you look at it on a map, it more looks like resembles a river than like a big lake.
So you can
like,
almost see across it, but you can't end to end.
You can absolutely see across it. Sure,
you can't end to end.
I think it's just like the ocean, though. At the end of it, water's scary because we can't really travel it very well.
Yeah.
So who knows what's down there?
But just between the sonar stuff that they've done and the DNA sampling and everything, I don't see any evidence to support this. Not counting it out. Evidence as we know it exists today, I do not believe supports this theory.
No, I agree.
That's all I got to say on that. So we also remember that Aleister Crowley had a house there on the Loch Ness.
I do remember that
Jimmy
actually.
Page bought eventually.
What became of that house?
Cool.
Do we know what ever became of
I
that
don't know.
house?
I don't think Jimmy Page still owns it. What was it called?
I can't remember the name of it.
But yeah, Jimmy Page bought it.
Any other final thoughts?
The world's better if a dinosaur made it.
Absolutely.
It's a damn
so much
cool
cooler.
story. Yeah. It's not harming anybody, so let the thing fucking live.
Yeah, everybody's got to try and hunt shit.
Yeah.
Bigfoot hunters. There's like a whole subgroup of Bigfoot people that want to kill it.
Yeah,
that
like
think that
in Ohio and Kentucky and those places, yeah.
Why are you going to kill it?
Yeah.
Why do you
let
want
it
to shoot
be.
Bigfoot, man? Fuck off.
You know how many confirmed Bigfoot deaths there are per year? 0. 0 people have died from Bigfoot.
Same amount of marijuana deaths every year.
So leave it all the fuck alone.
I'd like to visit the Scottish Highlands. Like the pictures you look at up there, fucking beautiful.
Yeah, I'd go there.
Like one of the most beautiful places on earth.
I'd go get drunk and piss in the loch. Right? Like, I don't know.
Will you eat haggis?
Sure.
When I get to Scotland, I will eat haggis.
I will try any food one time. At least.
Will you eat haggis?
What is it exactly?
It's like minced sheep's heart, lung, and something. I wrote it down actually because I wanted to talk about it.
He was in the mood to talk about haggis.
Heart, liver, and lungs. What's what you think about when you think of Scotland?
How's it
It's
cooked?
haggis.
How's it cooked?
It's like I don't know. It's minced up with onions and herbs and all kinds of stuff.
I would try.
They call it pluck.
So is it like
sheep's
stuffing?
pluck.
It's like when you put like all the innards and stuffing. Is that kind of what we're talking about?
I don't know. Just
like
minced. It's minced organ meat mixed with onions and a bunch of other shit.
I don't know. It sounds like it could be all right. That sounds good.
I would eat it. Yeah.
Oh, I'll eat it for sure. Yeah.
I might not like it,
Give
but
it
at
to
least
me.
try it.
I would always try any food once. If people are eating it, why not try it?
The only thing I don't think I could do, they have like that rotted fish that they bury in like Norway, one of those countries over there. The rotted fish they bury underground and dig it up. It's like rotted fish.
Yeah, there's some stuff like
I mean,
I
the
can't do
smell, like a smell of anything might turn you off. And then for me, the biggest thing once I try it is the texture. Like I would get sick more from a texture than I would a taste.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I would be down to attempt the rotted fish.
I don't think I could.
Like
do
if
that.
the smell makes me want to throw up right away, I don't know if I could even stomach putting it in my mouth. But I would be open to take the challenge.
Wow. All right.
that's like
tapping
that.
out.
I don't mind trying new things. I just, I would take a tiny bite first just to try my, not fucking going elbow deep in it.
It's like that show that Andrew Zimmern guy that does a bizarre foods.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's a lot of stuff on there. I'm like, nah, I wouldn't do that. Like where people are.
Or that Joe Rogan show, Fear Factor.
Yeah.
I will eat just
Today
about.
you're eating cow dick. Dave wants to eat whale dick. We know that now.
I'll eat the whale penis. I'll eat just about anything, but the fucking rotted, fermented, whatever.
I mean, it doesn't sound great.
Fish that they bury underground, and I don't think I can
I'm
do
not
that.
ordering the rotted fish sandwich at Jimmy John's. Would you eat the Larry David, Dave?
Oh, I like whitefish. Yeah.
But with sable and
Absolutely.
capers. I do not like capers. I can't get
I
into
like
caper.
capers,
I don't
sure.
like capers. I would try the sandwich. But, if you Google it, like there's a lot of people who have made the sandwich and
Really?
tried it. And they're always like, it's okay.
Or creamed herring and gefilte fish and stuff. I've been to a Seder meal. I love gefilte fish.
I would try
It's
any of
delicious.
that. I've never had it, but I would try it. I'm sure I would like it. I like just about anything like that. Except capers. Keep capers the fuck away. I don't know why. I don't like them.
It's a different taste. I
They
get it.
annoy me. Chickpeas, too. Don't like chickpeas.
I like chickpeas.
I had chickpeas for dinner.
Here's the thing with chickpeas.
How about that?
Though. If they're soft, I don't mind. It's that crunchy texture I don't like.
Like roasted chickpeas.
Yeah. Well, like
I make
when
that
they're
too.
in things. I don't like that. Just like I don't like when peanuts are in things. I don't want that crunchy. Like I love like Kung Pao chicken, Kung Pao shrimp. I feel like they just dump fucking bags of peanuts in this
You're
thing.
like, what's
You're like,
with the
what?
peanuts?
Yeah, like I don't need this many nuts in my mouth when I'm trying to eat Chinese food. I love Kung Pao, but like I don't need all these peanuts.
I like the nuts in
I don't mind them, but I don't need that many. Anyways, hummus is okay.
Hummus is
I can do some hummus, especially like a spicy hummus.
yeah.
That's real good.
I agree with you.
And your breath is so flavorful and fresh after that.
Give me a kiss, baby. Hummus kiss.
The baby just makes it extra dirty. Give me a kiss, baby.
Come here, falafel mouth. Give me a kiss. Tongue me, falafel mouth.
Oh, now I want shawarma. Some lamb.
This is better. This Middle Eastern food talk. I love it.
Yeah, this is good. All right. Anyways, Dave, what do you got for us?
I have some new patrons. Let's talk about them.
All right.
Let's read their names. Let's say their names. Thank you to new patrons Rachel Oliver, Tana Like Montana, Delaney Dixon, Kaylin Lynch, Brad Peterson, Tortoise 15, Jericho, Selena Roush, It's J-Bag, Necro No, Dear God, My Asshole, Lee Eggert, Ashley McLean, Kendall Stanton, Ryan Matson, Jason Folkers, Yunks Saggy Balls, Alyssa Grad, Morgan Sugden, Kendall Stanton, Tyler Baker, Chelsea Berry, Tommy Anderson, Brian Grabowski, Amelia, Randy Brocklebank, Amy K, Alejandro Saenz, BC Tits, Cheese Nuts, Spectrum 72, Vegan Jihad, Santiago Martinez III, the Cuck Corporal of the Seaman Fleet, Crybaby Jeff Gordon,
Jesus.
Cade, Happy Man, Angel Lianos, Eliza B., Heidi Mueller, Nick Stam, Preston Cyril, Nikki, Brian Travis, Steffi Stu Cat Poo, Happy Birthday Dad, Tricky Dick, Bo Galindo, Anna, Savannah Reese, Cy Ritvik, Perupali, Kathleen Logan, Rachel Alexis, Kokomo, but specifically the Muppets version, Jamie Smith, Ronnie Ochoa, Jose, Mrs. Hildebrand, calling from the bank, presumably, Renee D., Ginny McCormick, and Vince DeJulius. Thank you so much, new patrons. Welcome to the party.
Ian?
For iTunes, I have one for Delta 9024, Maddie Nort, Juicy Pussy. That person's left a review.
Juicy Poo.
We've said that name before, right?
They
Oh,
must have-
multiple
They're
times.
just updating
they
their
updated
reviews
it.
to get read again.
Yeah. Well, Maddie Nort also updated his review to.
What about Samantha Loves Dave? I haven't had an update from her in a long time.
I think she gave up.
Whatever, Samantha. I see.
She lost a loser leaves town match to one of your other beloveds.
A ladder match.
Yeah.
Kiki77, Necro Pals Unite, Alyssa Appreciates You, Savvy Reese, Go to Hell You Date, AG440, and El Paso lover. Thank you guys for the awesome reviews.
Dave?
On the international front, shout out to Smoking Cat 5000 from Canada, Angel Family 2022 from Great Britain, and Olive Creamin. Is that like I Love Creamin?
That's what it sounds like.
Sounds like it, kind of.
Somebody's pulling something
Maybe.
with that name.
If that's your real name, Olive, we apologize.
Also true.
From Great Britain. Thank you so much for the great reviews. And on the military shout-outs, we have one today for Sergeant Kevin Burrell, retired Army infantry. Thank you so much for your service.
Thank you.
Yep. Awesome. Thanks.
I have a couple more shout-outs. Shout out to Ty, who sent us a superhuman talking doll, which is pretty goddamn cool.
Yeah.
It's fucking hilarious.
Fuck this shit.
Superhuman is one of the most absurd, ridiculous, hilarious things on Instagram.
He's a juggalo guy that his neighbors probably don't love. He jumps on his trampoline and
He puts himself through torture and pain just for laughs. And probably a big paycheck now, really. But
he's standing up on our bookshelf here in the studio. I'm looking at him right now.
it's like a mini wrestling buddy type thing.
That's great.
Yeah.
So thank you, Ty. That's fucking great. And an additional shout out to Jay, who sent some wrestling figures to you guys.
Sent us a Stone Cold Steve Austin action figure and then a Mean Mark Callis action figure.
Oh, that's going way back, huh?
That's Undertaker before he was the Undertaker. Mean Mark Callis. So thank you very much. That's cool. We got it on our little shelf here in the studio.
Yeah, and Jay also sent us some soup bowl koozies.
Got the
They're
office.
like beer koozie, but you put your soup bowl in them so you don't burn your hands while you're eating your soup. We got a couple of office ones. You got an alien one there. Is that Steelers in there? It's like reversible.
Yeah. One side aliens, one side
Oh, I didn't even
Steelers.
realize. I was
didn't
like,
either.
is Dave mocking you? Like, why did he say aliens? But it was the inside of it. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, mine's super fancy.
Soup bowl koozies. What will they think of next?
Jay said you can also use it for ice cream. So you know keep your hands warm while you're eating your ice cream. It doesn't melt your ice cream as quick. So
Do people not use tables anymore?
well, I hold my ice cream bowl in my hands. So.
I mean, I get it. People do
I don't
that.
use a
Just
table.
Scoop on in.
Yeah, I'm
And
usually
now your
sitting on
hand-
my couch and
Yeah.
shit.
Now your hand will be nice and warm.
Yeah. So thanks, Jay. Very, very cool.
Yeah, thank you. We are on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at Necronomipod. We are on Spring and Amazon if you're interested in checking out any of our merch. Patreon.com/Necronomipod for all of our bonus content. And Necronomipod.com. You can find everything else pretty much there. Appreciate it.
All right, you guys ready for a cool down beer?
Cheers.